Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with Cheltenham selections for Thursday, the 13th of March. Well, this video, or Thursday, did I say Thursday? Well, Thursday anyway, starts with an apology. I messed up on one of the selections. I gave you the reasoning why, then I chose a different one by mistake. I kept mentioning I think her name's Jamie Townsend, Townend. I always call him Townsend, so you have to forget that bit. Um, I was adamant that Willie Mullins was trying to give Jamie Townend a winner. I selected a horse, which I believed to be hers, and I was wrong. And it wasn't even until, I would never have noticed, it wasn't until one of the subscribers mentioned that I'd picked the wrong one. I checked off the Paul Townend selection instead of Jamie Townend, so I was actually on a game of inches instead of Bambino Forever. Check the video. I'm not. It's an apology. I'm not bragging about it because I messed up. I explained why I fancied the horse, but I'd selected the wrong one. So I apologise for that. I hope you spotted that and maybe corrected it, but I'm guessing you didn't. So as I said, an apology for that. But let's get into Thursday. Let's remedy that now by getting to Thursday selections. Right. So I do believe I've gone for two each way paintants. This was put on in the early hours of the morning when I couldn't sleep. So I did have a study yesterday, and I tell you what, I did like the look of, or I was keeping an eye out for the Joseph O'Brien horses. Well, pretty much my very fancied one yesterday was Comfort Zone, and it ran absolutely dreadful. I'll put this on record now. I do not rate JJ Slevin, the jockey, one bit. I backed him in Ireland once, and I never back in Ireland. But when I did a video for the channel, just for like a bit of fun, low stakes, he was on another fancied horse, and he has a habit of losing his position. And it happened on the other horse in Ireland a bit back, I don't know, a couple of months back. And it happened on Comfort Zone. I know maybe he wasn't good enough, but I just, yeah, so unfortunately, I've gone for several of his today, purely for the fact that they are Joseph O'Brien's. But unfortunately for me, currently, JJ Slevin is like, I don't know if it's a stable jockey or the number one jockey, preferred jockey, whatever you want to call it. So let me get into the selections. So it'll be a very brief explanation. I'm not going to keep you. So I had a free bet. So I've had a 71 pence each way patent. So that's basically each way singles, doubles, and a treble. So the first selection, I do like the look of. My problem is I like hunting for huge prices, and today they aren't huge prices. There's one that's about 25s, but apart from that, they are fancied horses. Um, I could have the option of hunting for a big prize, but and try and sneak into a frame, but I, I can give genuine reasons why I actually fancy these to go close to winning. So I'm going to get into it. So the first selection in the 71 pence each way patent is Galileo Dame. I've left the price, it's currently 72, and I'm gutted at that because I would never imagine myself back in 72 chances. Probably end up being fours in a 24 runner field. Yeah. So Galileo Dame in the 120 at Cheltenham in the Mares Novice Hurdle, 5 places instead of 3. This is right up there on the form. But what I will say is, I am always a fan when Mares take on the other sex. Sorry, how do I explain it? So I always like it when the women take on the men, and then the women refer back to their same sex races because they've ran against the men. They've been like the horses are normally, not always, but normally bigger, stronger. Obviously, hence the allowance. But I think sometimes it can be intimidating. I'm not speaking on behalf of a horse, but I just get the impression that's how it could be with some of the mares. So this mare is back with its own sex. It's ran very well in the mixed sex races. So I do like the look of this one. I think it was rated in the 90s on the flat. It's a year younger than most of them. I think I can't remember its age now. Is it 4? I think it's 4. So it receives an allowance. I think it's a £10 allowance. But this horse is it's had a few races. It's a bit streetwise. It's ran very well on the flat in the past. As I say, it's only 4, but I think it did one run as a 2-year-old. Then it ran pretty much all its races in Racing Post ratings in the 90s. That's solid in my opinion. Um, it generally raced between a mile two, mile and four. I think it did run over a mile and six, but I'm happy with that. This horse has got an obvious chance, hence the price. But the big draw to me is the fact that it's running against its own sex this time, and that's for the first time over hurdles. This is only its third run over hurdles, but I think it's its third. But it's got a cracking chance in my opinion. The next selection is another Joseph O'Brien one. The horse is called Nurburgring. In the 2 o'clock at Cheltenham, paying six places instead of four. This horse hasn't done a great deal. In fact, just give me 1 second. It all made sense at 3:15 this morning. Hence the video now at 7. I'm just going to quick click on. I don't want to put you away or anything. 2 mile four. So it's 2 mile 4.5 furlong. I know you can't see this. I'm not going to click on it. There's no point. Cool, mom. So my issue is that Joseph O'Brien, I do believe, has got two in this race. I'll be with you very shortly. So yes, I have selected this horse because I believe, like yesterday with Comfort Zone, I believe it's been running over the long distance, and for this big race, they've upped it up to 2.5 mile. I wouldn't think it's going to go to Aintree. What I would think, the reason for the sudden step up in trip is I think it needs it. And the fact that it's been up to half a mile and it's favourite, and it's not been running that well. It was favourite-ish for this race. I do believe the bookies are scared of it. My only concern is, and I don't think this is going to happen, is if it's actually being upped to 2.5 mile at Cheltenham, and then it runs at Aintree back over maybe a preferred distance. But I do believe that this 2.5 mile will be its preferred distance. It did it with Comfort Zone, although it didn't run very well yesterday. I thought that Comfort Zone would massively benefit from being stepped up in trip, but it didn't. I just don't think it run very well because I think it finished about last. But Nurburgring, I think it's got an excellent chance. As I said, it's JJ Slevin again. Take take what you will with that. And the third selection is De Art in the 240 at Cheltenham, paying seven places instead of four. I do believe that this selection is a bit of a plot job. The jockey, and I'm going to tell you his name very shortly. So this is a three mile race. The jockey Tiernan Power Roach. I saw him ride the other day, and he rode a decent race on one the other day. De Art is currently favourite, but 7-1 favourite. I still think there's room for improvement. This horse generally has been running over on the flat. It runs over about a mile and six. It was a National Hunt flat horse to start off with. It hacked up on its debut and then didn't do a great deal after that. It did run in the champion bumper 2 years ago. It came nearly last, and it was 8-1 that day, so it wasn't really fancied. I think personally that it ran at Carlisle the other day, which is quite interesting, and I think that's just to gain its English mark. I think this could be a huge plot job because I did used to like this in the past where they'd ran in England, they'd got their handicap mark and then not ran that well. Well, this horse did run okay. It was only beaten by a neck in an okay race. It was a 16 grand race at Carlisle, but it's got its mark. It's got an English mark of 131 that day. It's now off 130. That was a horse's first time over 3 mile. It was actually 3 mile 1 furlong at Carlisle, which was tough to get. So we know it gets it because it's soft ground at Carlisle over 3 mile 1. You're pretty much going to get 3 mile at Cheltenham on, good to soft ground. This horse is in decent form. It finished second of 9 at Carlisle last time. Then it finished third of 23 over 2 mile 6.5 furlong on yielding ground, which is what's that, good to soft? Maybe slightly slower than good to soft. Yeah, I think it's crying out for this 3 mile, and also the 133 Racing Post rating that it posted last time is its highest ever Racing Post rating over hurdles. It's ran 9 times over hurdles. It's won twice, second twice, and third once. In my opinion, I think it's been set up for this race. Interesting that I think isn't it, I'm going to call him David Mailer, but I'm thinking of maybe the rugby player. But D Mailer rode it last time. Interesting that it's not on it this time, and it's got actually a £5 claimer, a more than capable five-time claimer. It's currently got in the last 14 days. This jockey has is 3 out of 18. It's a 17% strike rate. Um, yeah, I still think it's don't get me wrong, it's a huge field, but I do think it's got a genuine chance, and so do many others. It is the favourite. I haven't took the price. It's currently about 7 to 1. Um, yeah, so that's the first bet. The second bet is an 88 pence each way patent, and I'm going to be so frustrated after this. I'll be honest. The last horse I'm going to give it as my nap, and the only reason I've given you it as my nap is the fact that partly it's because it's not a Joseph O'Brien horse, but I just think Nicky Henderson is due a handicap winner, and I think that horse could be it. So I'll get into it in a second. The reason why I call it my nap is it's one of those horses that ticks quite a few more boxes than the other ones, whereas these horses that I've selected, I do really fancy them, but I do like to go for an outsider, like I said. So I'm gonna call this horse my nap when I mentioned it last off. But I just find it a very very interesting horse at a tasty price. That's what I would describe as my nap. So the 88 pence each way patent. Basically, I cleared my account out. So the first selection is Home by the Lee in the 4 o'clock at Cheltenham in the Paddy Power Stayers Hurdle, 4 places instead of 3. Um, I've gone for it because it's a Joseph O'Brien theme. Don't get me wrong, he's had one winner so far, and he's had especially one run terribly. I think it's got a chance. Um, it's 6 to 1, not a great price, but I think it's got, like I said, I think it's got a realistic chance. The second selection is Jordan's in the 440 at Cheltenham, and that's in the Trusted Trader Plate handicap chase, paying 5 places instead of 4. Just give me 1 second. So this race is over 2 mile, 4.5 furlong. It's currently good to soft, but I did see that it mentioned somewhere that it was soft in places because they'd watered. So and that was yesterday I saw that. So I'm guessing they've probably done the same again. So Jordan's it's sporting the headgear. So it's ridden by everybody's favourite JJ Slevin. So this horse, it was trained in France by Daniela Melee. It went to Joseph O'Brien. Its first run was on the 22nd of September 2024. It actually finished behind another one of Joseph O'Brien's, which is called San Salvador. But this horse was favourite on the day, ridden by JJ Slevin. That was over 2 mile, 1 furlong. In France, like they always seem to, is it called Pau and Orte? It was over generally 2 mile, 2 furlong, or 2 mile, 3 furlong on heavy ground, and it had mixed form, very competitive form. I know James Reevely has ridden it a couple of times, so there could be an English angle there where I don't know what connections they've got over there, the O'Brien stable, but they could well have got James Reevely as some kind of connection over there. I know he rides a lot of the English horses anyway, if they do go over there, or French horses. I think sometimes there might be some kind of thing where James Reevely will point one out, and it'll get bought by the big English owners, like a lot of the bigger stables do, where they've got like representatives. So that was a novice. That was a novice chase. So its next run was at Punchestown on the 16th of October, over 2 mile, 2 furlong, good to yielding ground, and it won. Posted a Racing Post rated of 132. Next time, it unseated rider. I haven't watched that race. It was ridden by Danny Mullins that day. On its most recent run, was in a novice chase grade one worth 52 grand. It came behind, sorry, it finished behind second, behind Impair et Pass. Rated 137. I personally think it's very interesting because it's been given an official rating of 148. Well, it's not even ran anywhere close to that, which is interesting. But I do find it interesting the fact that it's not ran for a while. It hasn't run since the 28th of December. Um, I don't think there's any issues. I just think maybe it takes its work well at home and they can get it fit at home rather than keep having to risk its handicap mark. I don't know. That's purely a guess. But I do think this horse has got a serious chance, and so do the bookies, because in a 20 runner field, it's 17 to 2 third favourite. So the final selection is Wise Guy, and this is in the 520 at Cheltenham, paying 5 places instead of 4, and it's the Kim Muir handicap chase. So Nicky Henderson's got 2 in this. If I'm being honest, right, I'm not a fan of the Joseph Bryan stable. I'm not a fan of JJ Slevin, and I'm not a fan of Nicky Henderson. I'm not saying they're not all decent trainers in their own right, but I can never, ever get them right. And what have I done? I've gone for all 3 in one day. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers, but I'm going to just mention about Wise Guy for you, because he's got 2 in the race, so you know what's going to happen. Fantastic Lady's probably going to win, because that's one of Nicky Henderson's. But I find it interesting the fact that Fantastic Lady is top weight, so maybe it's been put in there to keep the weights down. I don't know, but you've got Wise Guy. It's ridden by Mr. Joshua Newman, regular on the circuit. Is no newcomer. This horse is currently 25 to 1 best odds. It stayed on well over 3 mile at Ascot last time, and I personally think this step up in trip will be perfect. It has got room for improvement because in the past it has rated. It has achieved a racing post rating of 141. It's off 130. Well, last time out, he wasn't beaten far, and it was a decent race. It finished 6th of 11, beaten just over 6 lengths by Victorino. Victorino ran the other day. Not sure how it ran. I can't remember. Second in that particular race was 300 through fire, which is a well-known stayer, decent horse rated 153. Hasthing came fourth in that race. Hasthing, I think it fell at the last when in contention, but not going to win. On Is either yesterday or the day before at Cheltenham. It doesn't really matter. I'm just trying to explain the horses that ran in Wise Guy's last race were all horses that have ran well recently. Goshen also ran well not too long ago. And then you got Java Point that was pulled up in that day on that day. So I believe that horse possibly had just a run round. It was dropped a pound for it, which is good news. On the 30th of November, which was its previous run, so its last run was on the 15th of February 2025 at Ascot. Its last run before that was a winning run, and that was at Newbury, where it beat Imperil for 125, and that's when it posted its 141 racing post rating. It's ran at Cheltenham in the past. It's ran over the chase fences and over hurdles. Over the chase fences, it ran in December 2023. It ran an okay race. It was 11 to 2. All right, don't get me wrong, it was beaten 13 lengths, and it ran below its official rating. It was off 129, and it ran up to 123. That tells me that it runs slightly below par, which would explain being beaten by 13 lengths. But I would say it handles the course, because in the past, on the 12th of November 2022, it ran at Cheltenham over 2 mile 5 over hurdles, and it was second of 10, only beaten 6 lengths by unanswered. I would say it handles the course, although it's only ran once over the chase fences, which you'd always like it to run a bit more often round here. But the fact that it's been round and ran okay, I'm happy with that. And that was on quite bad ground. I'm wondering if it needs this better ground. It ran on soft ground when it came 4th of 6 at Cheltenham. Soft ground over 3 mile 1.5 furlong. Today's ground is good to soft, where 2 runs ago it won very well on good to soft. So I think it's absolutely fine on good to soft. And as I said, it is my nap of the day. And as I also said, my nap of the day, it's 25 to 1. So let's be realistic. Best chance would normally be expected for a place. Let me just recap on yesterday. Yesterday was a disappointing day, but I don't know if anybody noticed in the forecast and tricast that I gave in the description below. I was fuming. So I had Marine National. Also, I had Quixilos. They both jumped the second last clear. One was 40 to 1, the other one was sevens. And then I thought, I'm okay because even if one comes down, don't both come down because if one comes down, I've got Captain Gerard running on in third. Well, didn't what's it called get second in the end? Was did Anyway? I could have had very close to getting the forecast. But didn't in the end. Absolutely gutted. It would have made a monster one, sevens and forties, when you've got some very fancied horses, and they were exactors as well. So yeah, frustrating to say the least. And also, I will say that was it Limerick? No, Liberty Hunter. I'll call it that. In the same race, when I picked the outsider, that was also just getting into the race after being held up off what was a too fast a pace because the horse was making bad mistakes, John Bon included, because it was a fast pace. It started off fast. They then put the anchors on, and then that's when that Solness went to the front. And then there was a couple vying for the lead, and in the end, there was an awful lot of horses, an Ergamine and all. That horse also ran under par because I think they went off too quick in basically up to halfway. It was a funny pace, but the stopping and starting of the fast pace doesn't help anything. And in the end, it was the horses that didn't get mixed too much in that pace that actually came to the front. And the frustrating thing is, I've been talking about the Michael O'Sullivan connection about there is going to be some kind of headline, and I didn't find it. I was looking for it, and the headline the was it a Barry Connor double? Yeah. So frustrating. So those are the six horses for Thursday. So if you give me a like or a subscribe, I wish the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.